Hey Kevin, so I got some pictures, but I'm gonna try to put this in a video for you. I'm in the upstairs floored attic space that you see on the second story drawing or the second floor drawing. And this is where, at least currently, the air handlers for the air conditioners are planned to go. And if I walk over here, I'll try not to move too fast for you. There is plans for the main downstairs unit that would go through this subfloor. And under this subfloor is the chase that I was trying to explain to you. So if I pan down here, you can see the header, or the top plate, I should say, for the downstairs wall. If I point to it, maybe be right there. And then this gap in between here and then the floor joist, this 2x6 floor joist is blocked in between, of course, but this gap in between here is where that ductwork will run going to the other end of the house. So I'm looking back now where the kitchen will be, and just above the kitchen you can see there will be bedrooms and things like that. That wood beam looking thing is actually the I-beam. It was encased in plywood, I guess, for I'm not real sure why they did that, but in any case there is an I-beam behind that, so that's impenetrable, at least for this discussion. And this is going to be the second story joist. So above me is where all of the rafters and site-built trusses are. I don't know if you can see that very well, but that goes all the way over the second floor. And then the scissor trusses that will make the vaulted ceiling will start here. This is the 10-foot mark, and then of course they'll come up and then back down. So this area in here and this area over here will be kind of empty. And this location here is where you see the catwalk drawn. Of course, there's a stud in the way, but essentially we would be able to walk through these studs onto the catwalk, which would run the length of the living room and dining room area over to here. So we could potentially put the unit here and then maybe get up and over, I'm not sure, but then we'd have to try to figure out how to get down through a wall into this this bottom floor area back here, which is where the kitchen and laundry room is. So I'll try to move around and take some more videos and splice it in for you. Okay, so I'm still on the second floor, and these are the rafters and site-built trusses above this second floor bedrooms. And then back over this direction, this is where we were looking down to a second ago. The kitchen area and dining area will be underneath here, and there'll be just a 10-foot ceiling there. So there's lots and lots of room above here, to put whatever we need, but then of course we have to be able to get to it to service it if we were putting equipment up here. If we were just running duct work, that would be no problem at all. There's lots of room, but we've got to figure out how to get it down to the first floor. So if I come over, this I think is that plumbing wall. Let's see if I can maybe back up a little bit. Yeah, that 2x6 plumbing wall on that top floor. So potentially we could maybe try to go through that. I'm not real sure what the limitations are for drilling, holes through that bottom plate and then down into the cavity or the crawl space between the two floors, or the first and second floor. But in any case, there's plenty of room there to do it if that's not a problem of drilling a 3-inch hole in there. And then I'll go downstairs and show you down there. Okay, so I'm now downstairs and I'm looking up into that floored attic space where the air handlers and things will go. That's where I was standing a minute ago. And then if you come through here into this room, so this is that steel I-beam that I mentioned to you, and again, for whatever reason, they encased it in plywood, but in any case, there's a steel I-beam, and then you can see the steel posts that go all the way to the ground there, that each of this I-beam is held up by. And then the ceiling joist, or I guess it's the floor joist of the second floor, in any case, are sitting on top of that I-beam. And then you can see here this big gap between that top plate and the bottom of those joists. That's kind of the chase area that the HVAC guy is going to use to run duct along through here between the rooms on the bottom floor. That's about 16 to 18 inches. I haven't put a tape measure on it, but I think the I-beams were around 18 inches. So it's going to be somewhere around there. So he plans on coming in down through the floor up there. This is the main unit going into the other end of the house. He'd come through there, and then there'd be a trunk that would run, in between that top plate back this way. And then you can see here we're right underneath the balcony, and that's the 4-foot width balcony underneath the balcony there. And so he's going to go through that, and then he would continue and go through there, and then he'd bring his equipment through that gap, and then he'd come into this room, and it's the same thing. So you can see another I-beam there holding up this floor here. And then he would come through here, and there is some sheathing you can see here, but that's going to be cut out, so he can go through that to get to this side of the house. And then if he has to turn in to here, we'd have to see if, I assume that there's no issue, maybe knocking out one of those 2x4s. I'm not sure exactly what you call those, but in any case, knocking out that ladder kind of style stuff there to get through there if we need to get something wider. This will be the kitchen ceiling. So you can see that I-beam that spans across, that's holding up the floor above. The joists are sitting on top of it. So there'll be a 10-foot ceiling. It'd basically be, the ceiling would start here at the bottom of that I-beam and come over. So there'd be, just like what we saw before, a gap right here. And then if I come over this kind of little section here on the end of the house past the kitchen, this is where that little exercise room, it has its own roof line. So it's actually not, you can see the sheathing from the outside wall there, which that can be cut through, but it's not, doesn't have a second floor above it. So there's room there above this. This is this little powder bath that we have on this end. So you can see kind of above it. And then this is the laundry room. So we come into the door here, and you see what we're dealing with here. So there's its own roof line here as well. And we could break through that to get to the kitchen where that sheathing is there. We could break through that to get to the space between the upstairs floor and the ceiling in the kitchen to bring in any ducts. So what we have to just try to figure out is how to get those tubes over onto this side. And I'm trying to remember where the 2x6 bathroom wall is that we were looking at, but it's somewhere in this area. I'd have to try to figure out where I'm at. But anyways, we're kind of right underneath it, I believe, where those 2x6 bathroom walls are upstairs. So we could come down maybe through this subfloor, and then we'd have to turn pretty sharp. You have basically the width of that beam, which is almost 18 inches. You'd have to turn pretty sharp to drop. You could drop some in here, and then to get back over here to the laundry room, which is here, and then to this little bath over here. And then we have this room here that we were going to drop some fresh air supply in, as well as this one. course, this one may be a little easier, I'm not sure, but the main limitation right now, I believe, is this this 4 foot section underneath the balcony that we're going to be competing with the air conditioning guy for, if we don't go up and over. So hopefully this helps. Thanks.